If you are tired of your videos looking dull and lackluster in your Reels and TikToks, then keep on watching. I have several different ways that I recommend brightening and whitening your videos, and so definitely take advantage of the chapter sections in this video to watch what you need, whether you want to use a third-party app, in-camera editing features, Instagram, etc. I cover a bunch of different ways, and you may not need all of that, so just go to what you need in this video. By the way, my name is Tabitha Caro of the Teacherpreneur Club, and I'm super glad you're here. Make sure to subscribe for more marketing videos like this one. Let's get started. One thing I wanted to share before you even get started creating your video, on iPhone you can increase exposure, and a lot of times that will be helpful at going ahead and brightening your video while you're recording, so you don't even have to edit that much. So in order to do that while you are in record mode, you're just going to swipe up and then tap, this is the exposure button, and you can just increase however feels right to you, and that will help brighten your video even before you get started editing. So first off, when you're in Instagram and you want to post a reel, you could try one of their filters and see if that is good enough for you. So I'll add in my video. You can go here, when you go to next, you could just swipe. Paris right now is a pretty bright filter, Oslo as well, or you could pick a filter. So to do that, we will tap the effects button and then we will search, and I'm just going to search for bright and pick the very first one, but there's a lot of different ones. And then now I have a much brighter video, and you could save that if you're not going to post here to Reels anyway. You want to use it first in another app, you can just save it right there and start editing. Now for me personally, on my iPhone, I really like to just edit within iPhone. So to do that, you can go to Edit, tap this second icon. I tap Auto first just to see what they do, which is usually nothing, but you can kind of see on the wheels of each of the tools that they have done a few edits. So then I just like to play around, and definitely I increase exposure. Highlights I increase, and when you tap, you can see before and after. And something I also like to do, let's just get out of here and look at this video. I like to tap on it here, down here in the bottom, and kind of find maybe where is the best part. So for me, for example, when I am doing my iPhone and iPads, it's really important to me that that is probably what I look at as far as what I'm editing, because if you're not editing screens, it's kind of okay, but you kind of want to go to the part of the video that's going to have the most issues and make sure that is looking good, and then the rest will usually be okay. So here it would be where I would edit if I was in iPhone. So I go here at the bottom to my timeline, get it where I want it, and then I tap edit, then go to the edit icon, auto, and then I would begin. So exposure I would definitely increase a lot, and they removed highlights, but I like nice and bright. Shadows, so that all depends for me on, because I'm doing devices, I really want the blacks of the devices to not get faded out. So I actually will make sure the shadows are pretty strong, but it all depends on what you're doing. If you're doing just products, you will probably want to increase, and that will actually decrease your shadows. Contrast, I'll add a little. Brightness, so it was already pretty bright because I'm using window lighting, so I'm actually going to just keep that 0 right now. And black point, you see they did that all the way. This is what I love for devices. For anybody else who is filming a resource on their iPad or something like that, I love the black point. point, because it really brings out the blacks that are in your video, which kind of helps to not look like, yeah, this person just blew up their video with a filter or something. When you still keep your black strong, it looks like a healthy edit, and it will really help the whites pop more. So they went all the way, so I'm going to go all the way. Saturation, definitely yes. Vibrance is always for me hit or miss. Sometimes it's actually better to decrease, but I'll increase a little bit like they did. And then warmth, I just always look at the white of my video. If the white is looking a little yellow, you're going to want to go to the left and put in some blue. Now, if you're seeing, for example, if I go way over, you can see that the white is starting to look blue. So that means I need to add some warmth or add some yellow in to contrast with that blue to even it out. And then hopefully that will look okay. But I'm pretty even Steven with my temperature. I'll do a little bit of warmth. And then tint, no, sharpness would just depend if it's kind of blurry a little bit. You also have definition for that, and I would just swipe and see what you think. Actually, definition for me is good to bring out a little bit of the text and letters on the iPhone. And noise reduction and vignette is just if you want the surrounding area to be dark or light, which I never do. So now we'll tap done and we'll play that video and see what we think. And I feel like it looks good. If I want to go back and check, I can go to the edit button again and just tap and see the difference. And as you can see, it really stands out a lot more. And if you just decide these edits are not for me, if you do revert, you can completely go back to your original. Sometimes I will duplicate first, and just by tapping that arrow and going to duplicate before I revert. So then I still have those edits if I decide that is what I want to use. So my recipe here, I had exposure was around 30, highlights 26, shadows negative 13, contrast 23, black point 100, but that will definitely depend on what you are doing, whether it's a device or just regular products. Saturation 11, vibrance 5, warmth 5. Once again, that will depend on your photo, whether you have yellow or blue tint to your background. And I did 23 definition. Depends on if you need that. InShot has a really nice color tool which will make your whites pop. So go to video, new, and insert your video that you want to edit. Tap filter, tap adjust, and then you can go ahead and start doing the basics, brightness, contrast, checking your warmth. This looks a little blue, so I'll increase to the right some warmth. But if it is looking a little yellow, then you'd want to go to the left and add some blue. You have saturation, but then we want to go to curves. That is what I meant to say, curves, not color tool. Curves. And the interesting, neat thing about this, they go ahead and set up the points for you. So here on the left, these points are going to be the darks, the blacks in your video. So basically the dark end of the white spectrum. So if you look at the blacks, like the black right here in the notebook, if I increase here, it's going to actually decrease and remove those blacks and make them lighter, which I don't want. So I want to keep that all the way down where it was. Then when you get to the center, that's going to be kind of your whites that are right in the middle of everything. And then up here, these points at the top are going to be the brightest, whitest parts of your video. So they already have this point all the way up, but as you can see, if I go down, my whites are becoming gray. So we'll keep that up here, but the second one is probably going to be the most important dot for you. So you want to just go ahead up and increase, and as you can see, that background is definitely changing. And if I tap here and hold down, I can see the before and after. And what I like about InShot is you can also play as you're editing. So this can kind of help you see, am I going overboard? Because sometimes with your whites you can go overboard and fade things out, or make your hand can start looking too overexposed. So you just want to check on that as well. So I'm going to also up the middle a little bit, and I can see the difference. The letters are definitely changing and brightening up. I might do a little bit of increase on this dot, but I'm definitely going to keep this one down here so that my blacks remain black. Now you could go through, and the reds in your image are going to be the same way. So you see anything that's reddish orange, I can kind of brighten up if I wanted to, with the greens and the blues. But really, you just, the white one, if you do that, you're going to be good, and it's super quick to do. Now, I probably will still go to highlights a little bit and do a little bit of an increase. Once again, tapping to see my before and after, which made a really big difference. Shadows, if you feel like you need to increase and get rid of the shadows, you go to the right a little bit. You have your sharpen tool right here if things are a little bit blurry. And that's about all that you would need to do. I kind of feel like I need a little bit more warmth. And I'm also looking at my hand to make sure my hand doesn't look too overexposed. I think it's okay. So you can also save a video template of the edits that you made, so when you need to edit a new video, you don't have to redo it. So go to video, and right here you have your video projects. You could go all the way to your drafts, but what I'm going to do is just right here beside the video that I used to make edits, there are 3 white dots. You probably can't see, but you tap there, you can copy that video. You can also tap 3 dots and rename it. So I'm going to rename it. This is going to be my template for my videos. And I recommend trying not to delete the video that you used in that template video project, because it may give you issues when you try to open up the project and add a new video. So just keep that video, if you can think about it, in your camera roll. Now when you come into InShot to do a new video, just tap on those 3 dots, copy, and here is what you can use. All you're going to do is just replace the video here with the video that you're going to edit. So I'm going to tap here, go over to replace, find the video that I would like to edit, and it's only going to let me trim the length of what that original video was, but that's okay, because now you can just go in, pull this handle all the way so that the whole video is now in your project, and then just with your finger go through and see how it looks, because it automatically is adding those edits in the filter tab that you used. Now as I see, it looks definitely overblown, blown out, because of the exposure is just too much here. So what we're going to do is just find the spot in your video that shows you what needs to be edited the most, and go back to filter. And for me, because this is an iPhone, I am going to go to adjust. I'm going to go all the way back to the curves tool, and I'm just going to go here where my darks are and pull that down. See, it's making a little bit of a difference already. Pull that center down and pull right here down a little bit, because we just want to make sure that the darks, the blacks that need to be dark and black, remain that and don't get washed out as we're whitening things. So I can tap here, see the difference. Then I can also play right here in the InShot app and see if I like that. I think that looks great. And then I'm ready to save, and I was able to also save time making these edits because I used the previous video edit template. So because I use the VN app for my real templates, I want to make sure you're comfortable editing VN videos when you're using a VN Real template. So I'm going to tap the plus sign, new project. Let's insert the video. And it's very similar to InShot. You want to just tap filter and adjust once again. And you might actually like one of the filters that they have, but let's go to adjust so you can custom edit your video. And here in VN you cannot play, so you might want to first go over to the part of the video that gives you the best idea of what to edit. So now I'll go back to filter, adjust, and let's do some exposure, little bit of contrast, some brightness. Not too much because you don't want to wash out everything. It depends on how your lighting was. Little bit of saturation, vibrance. I definitely like a little bit of that for this video. And then temperature, I'm going to look at the background and see if it looks yellow or blue. It looks blue to me, so I'm going to go to the right with the slider and add in some yellow to try to even it out. It's right about there. And then maybe sharpen it a little bit. Now highlights in the VN app to me are kind of backwards. It's more like shadows, and then shadows are highlights. So if you go to highlights and increase, it's actually going to increase your shadows. So you need to go to shadows and increase, and it's basically decreasing your shadows and increasing the highlights in your video. So now that we have done that, I can tap and see if I like the difference, which I do. As with the InShot app, I recommend having one of these video edits be a template. So we'll just rename it here, template. So the next time you need to edit a video, just tap the three dots, make a copy, then you'll grab your template right here, tap on the video, replace, insert the video you want to edit, and once again it's only going to trim based on the length of the previous video, but you can totally fix that once you get it in here. You just stretch that handle out until it clicks and stops, and now you know you have your whole video. And as I see right here, it's looking a little washed out on the iPhone, excuse me. So I will go to filter, and we will just decrease that exposure a little bit and the brightness a little bit, maybe contrast a little bit more. Vibrance I'm actually going to take out and maybe increase a little bit of saturation, and then let's see how that looks. And I think that made a great difference, and I didn't have to do all of the edits because I used the template.